Let's add some camera animation to our shot. Now, camera animation can be tricky at times. We'll take this one step at a time so that we can have a really fun looking shot in the end. Let's go ahead and get started by creating a camera and aim. And now to see those objects, we'll head over to our show menu and we'll show cameras and also pivot so we can see the aim object. Alright, now those objects are kind of small. Let's go ahead and head over to our outliner, grab the camera group, and we can go ahead and start to scale this rig up. Okay, great. At this point, I'd like to rename these objects. So we'll give them all a prefix of shot cam. So there's the group, there's the camera, and the aim object. Alright, so at this point, what I'd like to do is split up our view to two panels. That way we can focus on both the shot camera and our work camera. Under panels, we'll choose layouts and choose two panes side by side. On the left side, I typically like to load in the shot camera, and on the right side we'll use the perspective. And our perspective, we might need to turn off X-ray, and we'll also press the 5 key to view this in shaded mode. Also, it looks like we can't see the camera here. Let's go to the show menu and make sure that's on. Alright, so at this point we can save this out. To always get back to this layout by going to Panels, Save Layouts, and now we can choose Edit Layouts. We'll create a new layout and let's rename this to ShotCam_persp and hit enter. Now we can add this to our shelf. If you'd like, you can go ahead and rename this icon by going to your shelf editor. I just went to this drop down arrow, holding the left mouse button. And now you can go ahead and scroll down until you get to your shot camera, and you can give this an icon label of SPL for ShotCam Perspective Layout. Then save your shelf. Alright, great. So at this point, let's go ahead and start to work on our first framing. We'll grab our camera again, hit the up arrow to grab our group, and let's go ahead and start to have this point at our ship. So we want a type of framing where the ship looks massive in a way. We go over framing techniques in Introduction to Camera Animation if you're interested in learning more about this. But we want a 3/4 view where we're underneath the ship. Let's go to our shot camera, and what we'll do here is turn on our resolution gate so we can keep track of our framing. Okay, and also move over to frame 1. So we're just about there. Let's go ahead and grab our aim object and have that point at our ship. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'll go to the camera and we can go ahead and now work on zooming in to make the ship feel more massive. So we can always bring this to about a value of, let's say, 110. Let's go ahead and see how our framing looks now. That's a bit too close, so I'll go ahead and just grab the camera and start to back this up a bit more on the Z-axis. Much better, so we can see a little bit of our hose, and we now have a better framing for our ship. Alright, so guess what? We're ready to start animating. Now keep in mind that the camera, with it selected, you can see these blue channels. This means that it's locked down by a constraint. The type of constraint being used is an aim constraint so that our camera's rotation can always point at our aim object. So we don't want to set any rotate keys, otherwise that will break our connection. There are ways we can animate between constraints. You can learn that technique in animating with props in Maya. But for right now, we just want to set translate keys on both the camera and interest. But before that, let's go ahead and have the zoom animated, so our focal length. and we'll have that zoom out just as the host starts to separate. So it's almost as if we're trying to keep up with what's happening in the shot. So we'll go to about frame 119 as the host starts to separate, just a few frames after. We don't want it to happen at the same time, otherwise it'll break the illusion that we're trying to create, that we're trying to keep up with our ship. So now a few frames after, on about frame 129, let's go ahead and back up our focal length so we can see everything, including some of our platform. So I'll bring this to about a value of 40. And now on 129, let's go ahead and grab our camera and press Shift W to set translate keys, and we'll do the same thing for our interest. Shift W. Alright, so at this point, let's go ahead and now add some movement to our camera, just something really subtle. So as the ship starts to move forward, let's go ahead and grab the camera, and on 150, we'll have it translate slightly over to our right in the x-axis. We'll press Shift W, or we should have auto key enabled, so that'll save us some time. And then going to the interest, we can offset its movement a few frames. So on frame 153, we'll have it translate, let's say, slightly over to our left as it's trying to follow our ship, but not much at all. And by offsetting our keys here, we can break up linearity. So again, we don't have this feel mechanical. Alright, so now our ship takes off. We need to keep up with it. So let's go to about 167, and we'll want the interest to now point at our ship. What I'd also do is under the shot camera, let's go ahead and choose select camera, go to the attribute editor, and increase our far clipping plane. Again, just add a few more zeros here so that the ship never disappears on us. Alright, so this is looking nice. Let's go ahead and take a look. Alright, so the perspective looks pretty good. See the shot camera. Okay, great. Alright, so going back to just the aim object, let's go ahead and take a look here. So our ship's starting to fly off. Let's go ahead and now have the camera continue to follow. We'll go to frame 180 and have our interest point at our ship. And then we'll have that all the way to the very end of the animation, so the camera continues to move. So on frame 200, we'll point the interest at the ship. Alright, let's see what we end up with. We'll hit play, see if we can add anything else to this. Beautiful, so that looks nice. I think one thing we can add that would be really nice is a zoom in. So let's go back to our focal length. We'll grab the camera, and as the ship starts to take off and away from us, let's go ahead and have a key on about frame 172. We'll go back to our channel box and we'll keyframe our focal length. And now we can have it zoom in a few frames after, let's say 180. We'll really bring this close so get some nice framing. And let's go ahead and see how this looks. So I'll play the animation. Alright, so we're focusing on the fueling and then takeoff, and now we zoom in and that looks really nice. Of course, you can tweak this further if you'd like. We'll spend the next lesson fixing anything we may want to change, but we should really be proud of this project so far. So that finishes this lesson. In the next lesson, we will again just tweak a few things. We'll add some more movement on the ship. We'll animate the gun and also the thrusters at the back to polish the shots and finalize it.